Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I would like to share with you another hyper-aggressive attacking game played by the 8th world chess champion Mikhail Tal. His opponent is Bulgarian chess Grandmaster Nikola Padevsky, and this game was played in 1963 in Moscow. Without further ado, let's go for the game and see what happened on the board. Tal opened up with e4 and e6 by Padevsky. Black goes for French defense, d4, d5, knight c3, bishop b4. We have the Winawer variation, e5 and b6. At some point, black can offer an exchange of light squared bishops in order to get rid of the French bishop, and queen g4. White queen is instantly using the fact that the dark squared bishop is absent and is targeting black's king side. The bishop now retreats back on f8 square, bishop g5, queen d7, knight f3, knight c6, a3, bishop b7, bishop d3. We first see h6, and after bishop d2, black castles queenside. A standard idea in typical positions. Now comes h4, knight e7, and white also castles queenside. And here black made a dubious move and played f5. With this move, black tries to free his position, but his last move creates serious weaknesses. Instead of f5, it was better to play knight f5 and then h5. But in our game, after castling queenside, we have f5. Now comes e takes f6, and after g takes f6, if we have a look at the position, there is a weakness on e6 square, and white will start targeting that square. Now comes rook e1 and rook g8. Of course, playing f5 could have been better. If queen h5, then bishop g7. If knight e2, then rook e8. If knight f4, then knight d8. But in our game we have rook g8. In return, black wants to win the pawn on g2, but of course this pawn has a higher value than the pawn on g2. We have queen takes e6, rook takes g2, queen e3. Instead of queen e3, exchanging the queens and then playing bishop e3, and then bishop f1, bishop h3. Of course, this could give white better chances, but in our game we have queen e3, king b8, and bishop f1. White wants to bring his bishop on this active diagonal, but is allowing black to create counter-attacking chances. In here, black simply moved back his rook, but instead of rook g8, knight f5 could have been stronger. If queen d3, then rook takes f2. And if bishop h3, then black has a powerful response, bishop a6. And after queen takes a6, rook takes f3. Actually, black is managing to fight back. But in our game, after bishop f1, we have rook g8. Black missed his chance, didn't play knight f5, and now will face serious problems. Here comes bishop h3, and after f5, we have queen d3. Tal is opening up the bishop's diagonal in order to bring it on f4, bishop c8. Now comes h4. White is taking under control another essential square, not allowing black knight to move. Queen e8, bishop f4, and queen takes h5. While black is busy with grabbing pawns, white is intensifying the pressure on c7. Here it goes, knight b5, rook d7, and this time queen c3. And already there are some very dangerous threats. At any moment, white can go for an exchange sacrifice on e7, or can even go for knight d5. Yes, black is facing serious problems. Black responded with bishop b7, but now comes the white knight. Knight e5 is on the board. Black captured on e5, d takes e5, and d4. With his last move, black both attacked white queen and also the rook on h1. And the question arises, how should white proceed with the game? But it turns out that Tal had already calculated everything. We have reached the critical position, and now you can pause the video and try to find Mikhail Tal's next moves. Ready? Well, instead of thinking about defense, Tal went for e6, he counter-attacked black rook and opened up the bishop's diagonal. This is simply fantastic, guys. He's sacrificing the queen, and let's see what's going to happen next. Black accepted the sacrifice and e takes d7. White is now threatening to promote the pawn to a queen. Black played bishop g7 in order to cover the 8th rank, and believe it or not, but after knight takes c7, black resigned. Yes, being unable to find the best defense against multiple threats, Padevsky resigned. Although actually black could prolong his resistance and try his luck. Well, let's have a look at the position. Right now white is threatening to play knight e8, discard check, and then promote the pawn to a queen. And if a move like, for example, queen f3 in order to attack white bishop, then white can play knight d5 check. Here, if you give away your queen, then the endgame is lost. Or after knight d5 check, if king a8, then in this case bishop g2 is very strong. The idea is to lure away the queen, which is attacking the dark squared bishop, and then announce a check from c7, and then we have it knight e8 check, and after white queen appears on the board, there is not much black can do. If bishop c8, then queen takes e7, and if knight c8, then queen c7, black king is in a mating net. Let's go back. Or after knight takes c7, if we move like queen h4, then in this case white can first give a discovered check and then play bishop g2. The queen is under attack, and if you try to save it, then rook takes e7 is coming. Here the threat is rook e8 check, and if rook d8, then in this case white can simply go for this devastating rook takes g7 move. If queen takes g7, then knight c7 check is coming, and then knight e6, and it's over, white is winning. That's why, understanding that his position is hopeless, Padevsky resigned, although I have to mention again that he could have gone for one of the lines and allow us to see more fantastic sacrifices by Tal. Thanks for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this game. For more games, consider subscribing to my channel. Also press the bell button to get notified about new uploads. I will see you in my next video. Good luck.